Hey, it's Tamika Chambers, and we're going to try this again. So good evening to you, especially if you're Midwest or over on the East Coast. And thank you so much for joining me for a discussion on Unstoppable and Unstuck and fulfilling your divine purpose of becoming a nurse. So my name is Tamika Chambers, and for the past few years, I've been providing coaching tutoring for NCLEX candidates. And there's a lot that I have learned about myself, about the journey, the NCLEX journey, and just remembering it myself. Now, you speaking as an NCLEX candidate, there are probably various reasons or one major reason that drove you into nursing. And it could have been maybe your parents, your grandparents. Maybe you saw someone in the hospital that was a nurse and you admire it. Maybe it was the uniform. Maybe it was the money. Whatever it is that drove you into nursing, guess what? There's a purpose for your life. And that purpose knows your name. That purpose knows that you have unique skills, abilities, talents, experiences that no one else has that can provide that as a nurse. And so for me, nursing, it was definitely not the most common reason that you probably heard, people wanting to be a nurse. I had found out at a young age that my mother had a desire to be a nurse. However, at the time, her husband, my father, provided barriers to her becoming a nurse. And when I heard the story around 10, I had just come out of an experience of projection of pain. And I heard the story and I said, well, he may have stopped you, but he's not going to stop me. And that day I set my navigation to becoming a nurse. I knew nothing about nursing other than probably something I saw on the show or cartoon movie, but I had a mission. I had a mission to complete. And so fast forward through nursing school and just learning so much, learning about how nursing got started, Florence Nightingale, learning about the body and the cells and how it worked, and finding out about the heart and the brain and what nurses actually did, and then getting a job as a student nurse. I was like, wow, there's so much that we can do to help people throughout their lives, to help them heal. And later I would find out not just their physical healing, but their emotional healing. And nursing just opened doors for me. I was able to travel by myself with my mother, take her traveling for her first time being on a plane when she was like in her 40s. I was able to take my children traveling. Doors just open up. I was able to work in the hospital, all different floors, except the ER. I worked in skilled nursing, ICU, outside of the hospital, diabetes educator. I floated even to a jail in Missouri. And just, I've taught nursing students, pharm, one of the hardest subjects, and pharm was no joke, right? And so, but I was able to take that material and actually make it so that it was fun and that it was learnable. And so I taught that. I also helped out with many clinics and labs, OB, peds, med surg, IV therapy, and just a host of things, and learning. And to really find my path within nursing was education. Seeing everything that was happening. How can I prevent people from being in the hospital, to stay at home and to take care of themselves, right? And so my subspecialty became education, and therefore led me to diabetes education, to being a health coach and lifestyle coach. And so it was within nursing that I actually found my specific area of work. And fast forward to COVID, right? So all these years I've, having a family, and then it was this overwhelming just desire to give back to nursing, right? So I have this desire to help others. And I was debating, should I go in education? That door kind of closed. And then because it wasn't what I wanted to do, it was not grounded enough into what I wanted to do. And so an opportunity came for me to do some coaching. And I specifically focused on nurses, NCLEX coaching. And it was through this opportunity that another door opened for me to get a glimpse of what people were experiencing along their NCLEX journey, what nursing graduates were experiencing, preparing for their licensure exam, studying it, understanding what they had to do. And many of the ones that I had came for tutoring because they'd already taken their exam once, twice, third, up to 10 times or more and had not passed. And it was through my observation skills that I had gleaned on as a child that I start really paying attention to, okay, what's going on during their journey? What's missing? What are these barriers? And so, touching up on my nursing skills and listening to and observing what's going on, I identify what I now know as 10 major issues that will keep many NCLEX candidates stuck along their NCLEX journey. And one of the major issues, the top issue, I actually had this on TikTok recently. I asked the question and I said, what is the one major issue that I found? And it looks like we have poor connection. So hopefully you can hear me now. But belief is the major issue that I saw that many NCLEX candidates were struggling with. And often when you don't believe in yourself, you tend to not make the right decisions, right? We tend not to create the right environment or buy the right books or overspend money or not creating the right time to study, overworking, catering to other people's needs when we need to study, right? When we, overstudying instead of balancing our lives. And so that top issue was belief. And often because they took their exam and they did not pass, they were still struggling with that belief. So they may have already had that, even in nursing school where they struggled, or I had some that didn't struggle and were A students. But that belief took a really big tank when they did not pass their exam, A students. And so what I found out too was the lack of structure. So they were studying all over the place. Like, I'm going to study cardio, but I'm going to do GI questions. I'm going to study respiratory, and I'm just going to do all these other questions. And therefore you had these gaps in learning that was, they didn't know about. And therefore, through the tutoring, we were able to see, oh man, I need to study that more. I thought I knew that because they were not closing the gaps, right? And so lack of trust, self-doubt. They were changing their answers often from the right answer to the wrong answer. And that stemmed all from the lack of belief, right? So belief, structure was a major issue, not being structured in their studying for their NCLEX. And so I would help with that. Another problem that I often found is creating the right environment. So noisy, poor Wi-Fi connection, going to places where they didn't have the peace and the quiet to study. That was often an issue too as well. And really not balancing their study time from their lifetime. So many would say, I would do, Tamika, hours and hours of studying, 9+ hours, study all day. And that I would do countless questions and I still didn't pass my exam. Well, believe it or not, they were on burnout, NCLEX burnout, because they were given so much to it, not giving themselves enough time to process the information. So that was one of the things that I work with too as well. So lack of belief, structure, creating balance, creating the right environment, and also too negative, dealing with their test anxiety. Negative emotions are emotions that were mastering them versus them mastering it, right? Because we are the master of our emotions. So test anxiety was huge with a lot of NCLEX graduates, including just really visibly shaking in the meeting sessions because they were so afraid that they were going to not pass again. And so I would always tell them that I want to build your confidence, rebuild your confidence in such a way that it trumps your anxiety. And I would literally have people tell me that when I would call them after they passed their NCLEX. And they said, I told anxiety, and I would tell them this, when I tell them tell them this: when anxiety come and visits you, tell it you don't have time for it. You have a test to do. And literally, a few clients told me that, and it was like, wow, that's so great. And anxiety would come and knock on their door and say, you didn't pass. And one of my clients, she had passed the 75 questions because she was so focused on the question. One of the things I say is maximize every question. It's not a race to the end. You want to give each question as much as possible, as fullest attention. Another thing that often is lack of preparation, not really knowing what to do, how to really, I talked about the balance and the questions and, helping people to also to break down the information so they can understand it, because that was another issue, just the structure, organizing and simplifying and highlighting material. Before even the next gen came out, I was getting people to highlight material to what are the key things that you need to get out of this section, this concept, heart failure, whatever it may be, digoxin, medications, and then applying that highlighting to test strategy. That often the test strategy would be, I'm just going to read from bottom to top, and then I'm just going to work the answers. Well, there are keywords in the questions that can help you get the answer. So you don't want to work the answers, because there are going to be some true answers, but they do not match the intervention or the concept the question or scenario is asking about. So I help people to work on the question itself, to have a strategy of really pulling out what the question scenario is asking you. So over time, what I give to my clients not only helps them with passing their NCLEX, as I tell them, I don't want you just to pass your NCLEX. I want you to be a great nurse. And I've received calls and text messages that, Tamika, I'm what you say I am. I'm a great nurse. And they're kicking butt. And some of them are in their NP program, master's program, going for their NP. So I say this in that if you are feeling stuck right now, there is along your NCLEX journey, there is a way to get unstuck. There's always a way to bring something about, to make it happen, because your purpose knows your name, because it called you to be a nurse. However road path, whatever you were on at that particular time, anger, frustration, happy, joy, whatever was going on in your life at that time, you were pulled to be a nurse. It's in your heart to do that, right? So even if it is money, there's something that nursing wants from you. And so if you're stuck and you're doubting yourself and saying, I can't do this. I failed once. I can't do it again. And I may fail again. Know that because nursing called you, there is a way to it. There is a path. And just because someone else experienced something doesn't mean you have to. And what I've done, not only do I give coaching tutoring services, I also developed a course called the NCLEX Success Mindset Mini Course. And it takes you through those 10 issues or barriers that I found that many NCLEX candidates deal with. Even when I'm on TikTok and reading posts and going here, going there, I still hear the same. When I'm calling new clients, I still hear the same things, right? That yes, you are individual, and yes, you have your own story. And yes, these are issues I'm familiar with, that I've worked with, that I've helped people to transcend those barriers, to overcome them. So the NCLEX Success Mindset is something that you do on your own. Videos, PowerPoints, worksheets that you have, and templates to help you to organize, simplify, to understand and to properly apply the nursing knowledge that you have, and the nursing knowledge in general, to help you bridge the gaps in knowledge and application, to help you create structure, to help you overcome test anxiety, procrastination, to create balance in your life, to adopt a test strategy that helps you to figure out what this question is asking me. Because I love it. One of a popular nurse who has a site, I believe, registered nursing RN. I should have had her site, but I'll think about it. Sarah is coming to mind for me right now. So I think it's registered nurse RN. She said it so perfectly when, no matter how they test you, if you know the material, then you can figure out what it is, that's going on. You can answer the question. I want to put that if you know the material and worked on your critical thinking skills, that those two can help you to figure out what the question is asking you, because it's important, because you're not going to know everything. And don't beat yourself up. And that's another stressor in mastering your emotions and feelings, is that you're not going to know everything. But if you can really build your critical thinking skills, that's going to help you through even the tough questions. There were questions where, I was getting a lot of OB questions, and I was looking at the question like, what the heck? I didn't say I want to be an OB nurse. What the heck? But evidently I must have answered them correctly. I had 75 questions. I passed minimum questions. But it was my critical thinking skills that I can really say that I believe helped me a lot to be able to sit there and process it, to master my feelings, because anxiety came and knock, knock, knock. And I just got to a point where I was just like, you know what, regardless of what happens, I'm going to have to do this. So I might as well do it now. So I nipped it in the bud. I stopped anxiety. And before you knew it, my test was done. So the NCLEX Success Mindset Mini Course is available now. It's a few dollars more than what it costs to work with me as a coach tutor for your NCLEX. I also want to say that I do also have spots available for NCLEX coaching, and whether you can do one visit or you can work with me for a certain amount of hours over a certain period of time, 10 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks. I do recommend that you take your NCLEX under 12 weeks, but that if you have been spending time just on the NCLEX roller coaster and you're ready to get off and you're like, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes we need someone who's not in the picture that can look at you, that can listen to you and see what you're doing. Are you really understanding material correctly? Are you really applying that material correctly? Are you really seeing what the question is asking you? So until we actually have that objective view, we can keep spinning our wheels over and over again, right? And so my coaching services are typically less than what I've seen, what I've witnessed, and I'm available to help you to see clearer along your NCLEX journey, to help you put the material together in such a way that you understand it, not memorization, but that you understand it. Because I learned early on in life and in nursing school, if I understand the principles, if I understand how the heart works and what it does, if I understand the systems, then I can properly apply that knowledge to my questions. And it really worked for me during nursing school, and it really continued to work for me and my students when I was teaching, and it continues to work for me when I'm helping my clients, and they start getting it and they start applying the information, and they're bridging the gaps, and they get curious and they're asking appropriate questions, even questions I'm like, let me look that up. So you have what it takes. There is help out here. Do not feel like you're alone. And you can find out more. I believe I have my link that's in this introduction of today. And my link is on my webpage too as well. It's TamikaSChambers.com. I'm also at Teachable too. And you can find me on many social media pages or links, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, so many. So anyway, I just thank you so much for allowing me to share my story and to share how you can become unstoppable. You can get unstuck. And it's sometimes just really taking a look back and see, okay, what am I doing? And that's what I answer when I coach. I help you to see what you're doing, because I believe the more aware you are of your issues and what you're doing, the more you can change them, the more you can get yourself on the right path. And I'm there as your virtual guide. I'll talk to you soon. Take care of yourself and reach out. Any questions, concerns, I'm here. Talk to you soon.